Episode 10 of Victory, last episode for Ryuko, or should I say, for Sengetsu, who comes through with a transformation, a secondary transformation, pulling a card out of his opponent's playbook here. It's very nice to see, and we're able to get a pretty fun and cool transformation out of that, which now leaves us with 3 more members remaining until we can get to Satsuki. A new one arises as well, who we are not familiar really with at all outside of basic interactions between all of the members. We don't know anything about what drives him, his origins of things within the group, or really realistically what he is capable of. So we'll learn all of that hopefully here. This is where we are in a interesting spot. I said in the previous episode how it wouldn't make sense if Ryuko came through and won because she hasn't done anything that would showcase she has the knowledge or training prior to from the previous encounter where she should have lost if not for a mechanical error, that she comes out victorious here. It just wouldn't make any sense. So this last time, the only options realistically were she loses or she wins, where you pull out some hidden power that none of us were realistically aware of. What ends up happening is Sengetsu's the one who does it, so it removes it a little bit, but at the same time, it still is just some random pull of a power that we had no knowledge or awareness of realistically prior, outside of potential foundation that was set from Gamagori and his own transformation, having multiple layers to it within the previous episode. So now that you've unleashed that, you can't unleash that again unless we have Ryuko herself able to pull something out last second, but that just realistically wouldn't make any sense to me. So I'd assume we would have to lose here. I think it would make the most sense to lose here. I think the setup of the different members that we've kind of ran through already having involvement in certain ways up to this point in exploration a little bit behind their character works really well to face us against the one that we have nothing on, and by putting them in an early point would make the most sense as a potential stopping point for it. But also could just work the opposing way where there is no buildup or anything because it's going to be simple and a defeat for us, so we're just gonna have to let it play out and overall see, I guess, what happens here. That would be my assumption, but I guess we could write it in a way where she is successful and it allows for a proper rematch without any mech errors again from what happened before. So it could be fun, and it gives proper exploration to all the members that we have to fight and characterization to them. So that could be a fun thing to just do. I just personally haven't been sold or confident to a point with what Ryuko's personally capable of, on top of you've had multiple battles in a row here, on top of, I'd assume the amount of blood loss and everything that Sengetsu kind of needs to kind of sustain him and allow for fighting to continue here. It can't just keep going with multiple transformations already within this one day. I'd assume we come to an end here at some point, but I guess maybe not. I don't know. This is one of those where I think it would make sense to do what I'm thinking, but I just don't actually have a clue for the direction I think that they truly intend for us to go. So we'll let it play out. We'll let it happen. Hopefully you enjoy. If you like it all, hit the like and subscribe. Do mind lots. May feel free to stick around for the discussion. Limited comments, but this is better series are going with episode 10. Background before we begin. It's pretty massive. Classic. That makes sense. In before. How terrible. I crashed the market. Very quick. They just zoom in and show you a picture of yourself. It's so good. Interesting. Right, just a prank. Come on, buy it. And she's with him is the crazy thing. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Handpicked. You really reflect on what I said, and if you're in, we'll see you there. I didn't really mention it in the OP, but he's also doesn't like appear as a fighter type, so that could be like the potential route we get to make this easy and winnable. Perfect opportunity to get some new stuff. Aww. We are equals, I shall say with you. Aww. Feel bad too. Why is she alone? Why nobody sitting with her? Yeah. Yeah, it's usually the first sign for things to not be too great. Okay, so he's just gonna analyze. That is a question. He looks as expected. I'm just waiting for him to be like trapped in like a dome or something, just seated, operating on it. Oh, okay, from his arms. Cool. That's creepy. Is it not creepy? Straight to the power button. He's so creepy. Just do some shit that they literally couldn't analyze if they tried. Right, always a limit. As long as he can prohibit her from really making her move till then. I love the confidence from him. Right, classic. Should have explained it differently. Up from reckless to really reckless. Let's move. Okay, I guess we're doing it. This little hide and seek ability. I have a feeling brother really wasn't battle tested, you know? Honestly smart. Right, I never had any intentions of it. Cool. I don't mind that at all that he does this. I think it's rather fitting. Right, I have no faith you're gonna make it. Still think she should have backed down, I guess. Capitalizing on it. You're using one TV that's always on anyways. Welcome to the team. Right. I don't recall that having to be everything you own, like your being. And why am I in the middle of it? Her own height map. A classic Mako. Seeing somebody as stupid as her really does wonders to calm you down. The squad. Saw little glimpses of what they were capable of. Just felt so magical girl-esque. Absorb the instruments. You just play one really, it's just a really loud speaker. Transformation number 4 on the day. I actually love this ability. We'll just add more. He's always had the confidence. I actually think I hate everything about her. Wow, sweet of you. That's all you got?
私の砂はコンクリートとなり、あの摩天楼となった。たとえ子供でも、あの最上階に立てばどんな大人でも見下ろせる。
So wise for a child.
消える砂の城なんてつまらない。そうは思わないか、モノ。でもどんなビルだっていつか壊れるもん。だったら心に立てればいい。自分の心の摩天楼は絶対に壊れない。
She has no clue what you're talking about.
あの時から私はあなたと一緒だと決めた。いつもあなたと同じ高さからの目を持つと。いや、今は私の方が上ね。
Yeah, but we get it, same thing.
ウィリアムテル序曲よりフィナーレ。バトルエリアから出たら近くじゃなかったのか。出たらじゃないわ。落ちたら失格ね。
Right. I'm floating, so. Oh, you're just not thinking outside the box. Drop the giant recorder on her. Oh, I just have to come up to you? Oh, you're gonna bring her down. How fucking strong do you have to be to pull that? That's as thick as they come. Just cut it out from under you. What if I just nuke the place? Somehow have to stay afloat. Just launch them all. Just blow up your own students. Great. Now the question is, how exactly is she still holding on? Okay, so he's just yeah, he's just capable of becoming whatever he wants. All right. That's interesting. The battles continue, but two were actually explored throughout this episode, with one of them ending in another victory for us, and the third one shaping up for a potential possibility at that. So we're in a really interesting, weird spot that is kind of fun, I think, just in general to talk about. And it's one of those things that I don't know if I can tell you if I like it or not until we see more episodes. So last episode, the complaint that I had that made the majority of the episode kind of feel lackluster to me was Gamagori was kind of just kicking ass the whole time. And they shaped it up at a certain point this episode where it seemed like she was just getting her ass kicked the whole time again. And it felt like we were going to follow an extremely repetitive formula. And last episode, it became painfully obvious throughout that something was going to happen last minute, that she was going to be able to create something or pull some BS out and be able to get a victory. And that's exactly what ended up happening with an evolution on Sengetsu's part of becoming like another transformation, which was like kind of my least favorite thing. I don't like random power up, random last minute like saving type of things either. I think they always come off to be extremely lame and uninteresting. So I really had an issue with it, and it made me fear for us having 3 more fights to go. And I even talked about it in the intro here, where I didn't think that we should be able to win because we haven't realistically demonstrated anything that would prove that we should. And on top of that, what are we going to do? Just pull out another one? Well, that's exactly what they did. But I don't hate it as much as I did before. Interesting spot for us to be in. I dislike it still. I'm not going to act like I love the idea that we're just doing this and allowing Sengetsu to be whatever he desires, as Ryuko likes to put it. But at the same time, allowing Nudist Beach to be implemented into this with presenting the idea that Sengetsu himself is evolving and his evolutions are occurring way too fast. And I don't know if they necessarily mean way too fast according to their own predictions and what they were kind of planning or trying to just like follow along with, or if they more so mean so many people struggle to actually like contain and utilize one of these god robes. So having one evolve as quick as he is only going to do things to cause more of an issue for Ryuko in the long run and potentially everybody else around her, which could be the case and could cause direct harm onto them. But in its simplest form, just to say, I like the idea that we're implementing the standard like shonen random last minute power up type of thing, something of more of like a plot point as opposed to simply just like she was able to do this, how cool is it that she was, you know what I mean? Being able to have her think of it in that sort of light, while the characters on the outside are cautious because they're aware of the potential like things that can come out of this, is actually really fun, and it gets me excited to see where they plan to go. And it relieves a lot of the I don't like this sort of thing from the previous episode in my own mind, because now it makes me just under the assumption of we're going to build her up to get these victories and get her to a point where it gets out of control, where even she can't handle it. And even if she can, it's going to be a full-on corruption of power on her own end. And if she can't, it's going to be something where everybody has to focus and turn against her, even those on her own side. And to see that kind of overtake her and us progressively go throughout that process will be actually really fun. The negative that comes out of it is it becomes entirely predictable of her winning all these fights until she probably gets to a moment with Satsuki where it gets a little too out of control, and then we have to probably do something about it then, right? And it removes all kind of real tension and any or other sort of kind of feelings, I guess, that you would have throughout these fights. And you just sit back and don't really take them as serious as maybe you should. Maybe you don't treat the character lives as something that should be treated in like a certain way, I guess. So it makes us it puts us in a weird spot, a potential cool spot, but a potential really just lame spot at the same time. And I don't think that they're walking a line of this could just turn out to be okay. I think they're walking a line of I'm really going to dislike what's going to happen, or I'm really going to like what's going to happen, depending on how this plays out. And the thing is, it can play out exactly as I'm almost expecting it to, which would put us in a spot where I think the story itself is in a really good spot, an interesting spot, but it would also make a stretch of 3 to 4 or 5 episodes, depending on how long we're going to like really drag all this stuff out, be really like uninteresting to me, and things that I don't even really want to talk about or go back to ever in my life, you know? It's one of those weird things where I'm just hoping that they have other intentions or other plans that maybe won't make me feel when I come out of all of this, like, yeah, could have saw that on episode 9 or episode 10, I guess now with the kind of explained to us, you know? So we're just going to kind of hold out hope that they got this, they got a plan and they know exactly what they're doing. And it's one of those things where we can't necessarily judge it in its entirety through strictly one episode. And we have to kind of give it a little bit of room to develop and breathe. So that's exactly what we are planning to do. Mr. Hyuka comes in and he is just a straight hacker and he's doing it for the love of the game, for the sport. But at the same time, just a nice little challenge that can kind of come in his way, which is clearly a very talented person that somebody like Satsuki could probably benefit from having on the team. The fact that he was even able to get into this, clearly still lacking some knowledge, the fact that they tracked him down as quick as they did and were watching over him. Some really fun stuff throughout this that highlights his personality and character a lot, which I actually enjoy, especially with him throughout his fight. While the fight itself is underwhelming and uninteresting, he's not a fighter. And it's truly displayed in that sort of light. He's just not a fighter, and he's utilized in different ways and on the team for different reasons as well. It's where his willingness to forfeit and everything comes from, because he's just here to obtain info and focus on those sort of things. It's not his job to be involved in these sort of things. But I think it's funny when we just zoom in on his face and they're like just watching him and he's like, what the fuck? Like, where's this camera coming from? And they just pull up on him instantly. His little jokes too, just like, damn, shooting first and asking questions later. No, it was just a prank. It was just a prank. And then be like, seriously, guys, you're gonna shoot me? Just kind of like in a really serious moment, not taking it serious is extremely fun. And here comes Satsuki, who kind of just advises him to utilize his own abilities for what he's doing to change things within the real world and not necessarily just do stuff on the virtual world, and putting potentially on a correct path to go, and give him something to really think about and reflect on. And it's fun to see because we get to see it a little bit later too with the other flashback. From such a young age, she seemingly has had, whether it was instilled in her through parents or it was her own kind of findings and stuff, or she's just like some sort of being that has had like the soul or brain implanted into her through somebody else, whatever she desires to be, I guess, or they make her be. She is somebody who from a young age seemingly has known what she's wanted, and everything that she's done has been very carefully, constructed and followed a path that will lead her to that final destination that she ultimately wants to. I love how everybody just starts coming over and sitting next to Mako. I think it's so fun. She's so full of energy and just as goofy as ever, and I think she's great. And here we go, just time to fuck around. His transformation, he looks stupid. It's just dumb. His touching like all on his body to be able to like type in whatever he's doing and maneuver is hilarious to me, and I absolutely love it. The actual fight and everything that's occurring within it is kind of but at the same time, it's just super fun with his mannerisms and everything that he's doing. And Ryuko uses a very smart strategy of just getting as chaotic and unpredictable as you can for somebody who does everything that's extremely calculated. And a fun way to be able to ultimately come forward and get a victory, which I like how he just gives up there because his goal was literally just to obtain info, so it didn't necessarily matter. So now we have another member come in. I like him just charging and then bringing out this strong motherfucker. I mean, like, you got a problem bringing it up with him. Listen, he's got to get his. He needs his money. I'm going to fight. I'm not going to lose. But hyping herself up for what? Like, with the... Such a goofy. Utilizing her as something that's like a stress reliever in a way, which is fun. Seeing somebody, like, it could be used multiple ways. She's just so like goofy that like you just don't even think about things, and she lives so carefree almost that it makes you feel better. But at the same time, it's like one of those things where you see somebody who's like the same age as you or something, or like in the same position as you, but they're like significantly older, or they're just like not doing anything else with themselves, and you just feel more content with like where you're at as a person. Like, I could be like her, so thankfully I'm not. Like, things could always be worse. And we bring some stuff out. This is just fun. I like all the different girls and then transforming all the instruments into just this giant mess of whatever she's doing here. I think it's so fun. It's just so loud. I wish we did a little bit more of like, characters having to cover ears and struggling to maneuver due to like the noise and everything. They're doing that with the outside ones, but having like Ryuko, who's actually in the fight, seem to be taking zero effect of this kind of stuff is a little underwhelming, but it is all right. I love the sound design on it. I think it's so strong, and it just reminds me of like you go into like I would go into my friends' like cars or something before, like they have like old beaters, so you just you just go in and you turn up the bass to the max that you can and just play the loudest things that you can on the highest volumes and just see how distorted and awful it sounds and how much bass you could really kick in there, and it would just shake the entirety of it and kill your own ears, but it's hilarious just to do. Give it a shot if you haven't. And it just reminded me of doing something like that. She's just fucking around with her. I love how she was able to just turn it into something that she could fly with as well. So stupid. Fun to know where she ends up meeting her and being so much younger, of course, than everybody else. And the fact that she's been on this path since she was so young, and the feelings that she has now towards Satsuki, or always has seemingly kind of had. Making a vow to essentially be with her forever and always be at least on the same exact level in a way. I like how swift they are too, because we did that in the previous few episodes. It's not like long drawn out like climactic moments or something. It's like subtle things, or even like just a lesson that gets taught along the way through somebody that they view to almost be above them, or in that moment like just captures everything about them. And I think it works out nice. It's very swift. It gets through it quick, and it provides enough of a reason at a specific like age or impactful point within somebody's life of why they would essentially want to go out of their way and follow Satsuki, which I think does exactly the job that it needs. Like, we didn't need this big old like heroic thing or like this massive encounter to actually occur. Just something simple, and especially here being a person whose mind could easily be swayed so much by how young she actually is. Being all the more simple, I think, is better. I love her just bombing her with the recorders and stuff and taking the whole ground out from under her, especially after you're unable to cut directly through the life fibers. I think is really fun. But then we bring out an ability, of course, where we decide to be like, no, she can just fucking fly. So this is also where things get really interesting, while they talk about how Sengetsu is seemingly just kind of evolving a little too quick. The feelings that I almost had directly towards these two before, and what I was talking about in the previous episode, how all his warnings, while they are presented in a way that could come off as like, yeah, this is a good thing, and I'm looking out for you, and I'm trying to help you, and I just don't want anything bad to happen. It also just strongly comes out as somebody who has other intentions and goals and is leaving you out of it completely, and is almost potentially your own enemy and going against you, and kind of treating you like a puppet in a way, and just trying to control every sort of move that you do so it fits exactly whatever their plans are. And likely my assumption would be his own plans of being able to either utilize her or put a stop to her to obtain the robe as something to utilize in a way to stop Satsuki for the things that she's done, or maybe even being sided with Satsuki and trying to operate as somebody from the inside who isn't as suspicious. And there could be, a bunch of other reasons, but the more episodes that's going by, the less confident I'm feeling that, they're actually on our side in any sort of way, and being able to call in, buddy, I can't remember his name, I am sorry. Especially after how against he was, of these things, that we might need you, because it might get to that point really quickly of this thing kind of overtaking her, which I think will be really fun, but it narratively just like works and fits directly to his character for why he would be within the loop. And we get some anger coming out of her. Fuck that bullshit. Let me kick this bitch into overdrive. So overall, yeah, fun episode. Potential just like pause, I guess, on my own feelings towards dislike towards some of the things done, because they seemingly are evolving into a larger set of what the plot itself is trying to be here. So I'm going to let those points kind of come out and see how they exactly kind of handle this before I like truly keep continuing to form judgment like episode by episode. So I think it works if it's done right at the end. I think if it isn't done right by the end, we are just going to look back in a way of being like, these episodes are just kind of and didn't really care for them. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully you enjoyed, though. If you liked it all, like and subscribe. If you want to, feel free to check out the video in the channel. Leave me comments with this other series. We'll be back for episode 11 very soon. It was a great one, though. Peace.